Hello, 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 beautiful people, all the inhabitants of the earth, anyone who will see this and listen to this and receive this. Peace unto you. My name is Fitzraven and I'm a coach. And there's an idea that was born, that was conceived in some coaching conversations this week with clients that's just been germinating in me and developing and wanting to be birthed into the world. So I am so excited to actually sit myself down to create this video and share this idea with all of you and also with myself, by the way. When I create an idea in video, this is for me an opportunity to hear myself saying the idea, for the vibrations of my vocal cords to resonate throughout my body, to crystallize and clarify the idea as a way in which to lead my own life to its next step. So it's a win-win. I'm sharing this for you and for me and for you. So I was in a conversation with a couple of different clients this week, and here's a theme that came up. Clients often come into their work with me with an intention of creating a material result, creating a e-commerce fund, an entrepreneurial endeavor, creating more income from coaching. Very often there are external results, outcomes in the real world that people want in the domain of love, money, self-expression. But I'm talking about concrete material goals. And okay, we set that intention. And then often what happens is, as we do the coaching work, they come in session after session with other things that are burdening them or weighing down their hearts and minds. Maybe things relating to their self-concept. Maybe some crisis or tension going on for them in their marriage. Maybe some discomfort or discord that's going on with them internally. Things that are very meaningful and important to them, but don't directly or overtly have anything to do with creating their stated goal or outcome in the outside world. And so we'll go deep and we'll create breakthroughs in the internal world, a greater sense of freedom, a greater sense of spaciousness, create new ideas, install new beliefs, things that allow for more love, for more creative self-expression, for more peace of mind, for more generosity, for a sense of expansiveness. And so there's this interesting dance that happens. And then sometimes what happens is clients can come to the end of a time that we agreed on to work together. And they're like frustrated and judging themselves and upset. Why haven't they created the material goal that they desired? This is a very, very interesting phenomenon. Not only something that's happened with clients that I've worked with, but something that's happened with myself. I've hired coaches with this idea in my head. I want to make X amount of money. I want to create this business. Ideas of material results that I would love to have for myself. And yet, throughout the 6-month journey, I would come in and bring up other things. And what do I mean by other things? I think it's worthwhile to clarify. A material result in the world, on this plane, is always precipitated by an action. Henry Ford said, money is the byproduct of service. So if you serve someone in some way, that could be you plumb their toilet or fix the electricity in their house, they're going to give you money. It could also be a service in the form of a conversation. You pick up the phone and you refer them or connect them with someone who's able to provide them a service, or the conversation itself serves them and meets a need or fulfills on a desire in some way. You're going to get money. But as a rule, I mean, even if you win the lottery, you have to have actually taken an action beforehand, which is to buy a ticket. So as a general rule, money is the byproduct of service. And in general, even if it's not the byproduct of a service, you have to have taken an action. Results in the physical world, in the material world, are precipitated by some kind of manipulation in the material world, otherwise called action. So I myself have had this experience where rather than showing up to my coaching sessions and engineering a conversation with my coach that would directly impact my action, and then go ahead and take those actions in between sessions to create a result, instead, I would explore with my coach things that related more to my internal state, to how I felt, to how I was experiencing myself, and not necessarily create the result in the material world that I had set out to create in the beginning. So this is not just something that I've witnessed in my work with clients. This is something that I've witnessed with myself. And so I'd like to clarify some things over here that I think can be very, very enlightening and useful. While it's true that material results are precipitated by a manipulation in the physical world, I don't mean a manipulation that's surreptitious or that's evil. I mean a change, a maneuver, an action. Okay? What really is at the heart of whether or not we take the actions that would create the result? What really drives us? What really allows for that? What it is our internal state, and more importantly, the map that we have inside ourselves, the map and our ideas, that is to say, the constellation of ideas that we hold inside, okay, that represent to us the world and ourselves. We all have a concept or an experience of the world and of ourselves in relationship with the world and with possibilities. And that's a set of ideas or a set of beliefs or a set of judgments, right? And it's that set of ideas that constitutes what I would call the mapping that we hold inside of ourselves and the world, and the objective world. So now let's just say you want to get to a particular destination. You're doing a road trip, you're driving cross country, you want to get to Sacramento, California. You have a map, right? The map is not actually the territory that you need to traverse. The map is just a piece of paper. You're holding it in your hand, right? Or an atlas, old school. Now we have GPSs, but it's a representation of the outside world. That's what the map is. And by virtue of it representing the outside world, it's able to point you in the direction where you need to go so that you end up at your destination. Now, just imagine if you're holding a map and the map was drawn up incorrectly, okay? So imagine if this is my map and on the map, Sacramento is actually here on the map, when in reality, Sacramento is here. But on my map, here's a big star and it says Sacramento, California. I'm following this map. I'm following it to the T. I don't make a single wrong turn. Where am I going to end up? I'm going to end up in a place that's called Sacramento, California on my map, but has no physical or actual counterpart in that place. When I get to that place, it may not be a city at all. Maybe a desert. If it's a city, it's not Sacramento. What went wrong? I traveled. I did my part. I journeyed across the country. I followed the map. I did everything perfectly, didn't I? Well, what went wrong is The map was off. The way in which the territory out there was represented to me in this map was just off. That's the metaphor. In a very similar way, we all have inside of us, the, the world is mapped out to us and represented within our awareness to us. Our own self is represented to us in our concept, in our perception. We have ideas about ourselves. Are our ideas about ourselves the actual self? No, they're projections. We think they are reflections of ourselves, but they're not the same as the actual me. They're representations. So we all have inside of us, and it all happens in language, a representation, like a map of the world and of ourselves and where we are in the world and what pathways are accessible to us or available to us and what pathways are cut off, right? What highways are open and which are closed or which are under construction, which haven't even been built yet. That is where the secret is found. If I want to unleash myself and free myself to go ahead and take certain actions and to be in action to fulfill on a particular result, I can force myself to take certain actions. But in my experience, that will usually not be very effective. It will be effective on a rare occasion. It's like an exception to the rule. It's an overdrive button. As a rule, if the map inside me is what is going to guide me, is what is going to give me that sense of feasibility, plausibility, ease or hardship of any particular course of action. It's that map inside, that set of ideas that I have that represent to me internally the world and myself, that's going to create the experience of how big the opening is for me to be in action. So if my internal map, if the way the world and myself are represented to me in my own conscious awareness is skewed, is off, then I'm following the map. But it's not going to allow for the kind of actions that will produce the result. If the map is off, it may create inaction. If the map is off, it may create poor action. To create consistent, right action that produces the consistent, right result that I'm after, the map that I'm following has got to be accurate. The set of ideas and beliefs and judgments that make up my sense of self and my sense of the world must be aligned in such a way that what intuitively follows is the kind of action that would create the result. So yes, a result is created by action. But the quality of that action, which will create the quality of the result, the quantity of action, which will create the quantity of result, the presence of action altogether, or the absence of action, which will, of course, be decisive in producing the result, has everything to do with my internal map and the way in which life, the world, what's possible, my own self, and what I'm capable of, worthy of, allowed to do is represented to me in the ideas and in the judgments and in the beliefs that make up my identity. So on the one hand, all this internal work, very often over a course of time, doesn't overtly or directly create the result that the person is after. That's true. However, what's often in people's blind spot, what people are not aware of, is that internal work is actually straightening out the map. It's rewriting the map so that once your map is accurate, you can just travel and get there. As you rewrite your map, you're paving roads You're creating interstate highways. You're literally creating the condition that then precipitate and allow for the actions that will create the result. And what a beautiful gift that is to oneself. So it doesn't directly create the result, but it does indirectly create the result. What directly creates the result, overtly creates the result, is the actions that we take. But what's underneath the surface of that is the map. And that's inside. Therefore, what happens often for people is they don't know that. They don't have that awareness. But their experience can't deny it. So their mind says, our minds tell us, I want to produce this result. But our direct experience in our heart somehow intuits, yes, but the map that I've got right now inside, my ideas that I have about myself, my ideas that I have about other people, my ideas that I have about money, my ideas that I have about opportunity, my ideas that I have about the world, my ideas that I have about permission, my ideas that I have about safety are just so misaligned. And there's going to be so much tension and friction if I try to override all of that and just force myself into action to create that result. Intuitively, we all know we have to rewrite the map. And so that's what we do. We actually come into session bringing up these internal things because we have that deep inner knowing that that's where the work's got to happen. What a beautiful gift that intuition is, that small, still sound inside. It guides us in that way. And if we don't have any awareness of that, what ends up happening is we judge ourselves. We come to the end of a coaching investment and we're like, I didn't create the result. And we don't either have the awareness of the gift that we've given ourselves and the way in which we've honored ourselves and all the ways in which we've moved so much closer to creating the conditions for taking the action that would create the result. And so we just judge ourselves. I didn't create the result. Instead, I just worked on stuff internally that, I had no intention on spending my money or investing myself just to work on my internal state. And we just feel frustrated and disappointed. So we end up not getting the result and not even getting the gratification and the satisfaction and the joy of what we've in fact created and the shifts that we've made in our state of being and the way in which that sets the stage for our success, which we gravitate to when we're ready. I know myself after a while, after a few years of coaching, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to be in action. I'm ready to do what I need to do. I've cleared the junk out of the way. Not perfectly, not entirely, but I did enough work on the inside on rewriting the map that there's that sense of freedom, that sense of power, that sense of clarity. I'm good to go. Time to be in action. Time to create the result and enjoy it. So, what's the takeaway? The takeaway is understand this. The material outcome, the physical result, the goal is the destination. Getting to that destination is the journey of action. And in order for that journey of action to commence and unfold in such a way that it will get you to your destination, the map's got to be written correctly. That means your ideas and beliefs that hold the way in which the world and yourself are represented to you in your internal state and in your visceral experience must be such that they allow and support radical, powerful, loving action, and not that they thwart it and undermine it. And when you know this, you can come into your coaching work with so much more freedom because you know If you're ready to take the action, you'll be working on the action. And if you're not ready to take the action, you will be coming in, dealing on stuff that relates to your internal state. And you can enjoy that and know that you're writing the map. If you don't have an accurate map, all your action in the world will not get you to your destination. It'll probably exhaust you. Or if somehow you manage to get to your destination, it will be fraught with frustration, with constriction. So my invitation to you is, think about this idea. Think about the outcome as the destination, the actions that get you there as the journey, as the trip, and your internal state. It doesn't just mean your mood. It means the whole constellation of ideas and beliefs and judgments that make up the way you're oriented to the world and to yourself and to what's possible, conscious and unconscious, are your map. If you're coming into a coaching session, open yourself up. Hold this awareness. It'll give you so much more latitude and so much more agency to make a conscious choice if you want to work on internal state or if you want to work on strategy and action that relates to results. And it will also give you so much more freedom if you chose not to create the result because you weren't focused on taking action. You can still enjoy that you've been rewriting your map. And you can still welcome that into yourself as having been a bunch of steps closer to your goal. And you can continue building on that. Thank you for watching this video, for receiving this idea, for receiving me. I'm so grateful for your engagement. And if there's anything in here that lands for you, that resonates, if you'd like to deepen this conversation, if you think that I can help you in some way to create greater access, whether it's to help you rewrite your map, whether it's to help you go on the trip and get to that destination, whatever it is, I'd love to be in conversation. Reach out, we can have a conversation. I'd love to see what it creates.